My name is Suzanne Farrin. I'm an ICElab composer, and my project is a setting of the poems of Michelangelo. I was wandering around the Strand bookstore several years ago, and I came across, in the poetry section, a book of poems by Michelangelo, and I thought, wow, I didn't realize he was a poet, which is often the response I get from people when I tell them what I'm working on. And I put the book on the shelf, and then one day started reading through it, and I noticed that there were some poems that really spoke to me at a level very similar to his sculpture. The ones that I like were all inspired by one man, Tommaso di Cavalieri. And so he, during a period of his life starting around 1534, had a very passionate adoration, at least, for a young man named Tommaso, and wrote a series of poems. And the two of them exchanged what are called presentation drawings. And so Tommaso essentially studied with Michelangelo, which from what I know, didn't really happen in Michelangelo's life other than with Tommaso. So Tommaso would draw something, and the great master would respond with a drawing. And then there's left behind all of these poems. And they're very visceral, and they, much like his work, through the lens of one action, he seems to talk about everything. So I found it very inspiring. James, for you to look at Anthony, because he has this little tiny glissandi.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it would be great to spend a little extra moment on that, so that your glissandi is sort of perceptible, and then the flutter tongue comes in, kind of out of him.
Okay.
It took some time to get over the fact that I was setting the words of a great artist, kind of one of the gods in human history, and it took me some time to feel okay giving my voice to his words. But I am doing that. I'm giving really my language to this text. And why I think I have so much resonance with the text is that there's always a pull in more than one direction, usually two directions, just like his statues. You know, the hips often are in one direction, the shoulders are looking in another, and I think my language exists a bit in that world. The stretching, the pulling, the sort of moments of clarity and moments of darkness. He exists in all of those territories, and especially going into the instruments from that perspective has been really interesting.
Or do you want it more baritonal, like?
Yes.
Yeah, I'm confused, sorry.
Let's go back. That was great.
At times we are in a kind of a very Baroque opera setting where the text is the master and people are in support of the text, and hopefully it travels in interesting places, but we hear the word and we try to understand what's being said. And then there are other territories. There's territories where the text is omnipresent but not always heard, and not always on the surface, and certainly not always sung. So one approach I've been having with this is, even when I'm setting for the voice, if I struggle and struggle and struggle to find what a section of the text should be, and I can't, and I really can't, then that text is not meant to be heard through my voice. So my voice is not the vessel to say that line or that text, and it has to be channeled through me in a different way, and maybe in a more fundamental, essential way, and that's my sort of fundamental language, I think, is through the instruments, the abstraction of the text. So the text kind of goes underground, but we still feel it.